but I'm actually not going to. Not just yet, anyways. I'll end up fighting them eventually. But this idiot needs to die now. And I wonder why it's still glowing like that. I thought we'd done all of Lantry's level up stuff. Apparently not so much. Well, we'll just kill this guy and then address that matter. Now, Ebb, hit him with an arcane missile. Tiberius, you can do a thrust attack. Barrack can do a regular attack. Lantry can do a quill strike. Tiberius, how about you slice him? You can hit him with an electric jolt. Huge amount of lightning. And that was easy enough. Free Callius. Okay, so Lantry doesn't actually have extra abilities or anything like that. Well, we found Callius. Let's hope he's feeling up to believing us. Somehow I doubt it, though, because I seem to recall he's been a prisoner here for a good while. This bound soldier looks to have endured a recent and vicious beating, though most of his bruises have progressed to their later stages. He looks up at you with tired resignation. If you're here to kill me, get it over with. We're not here to kill you, Callius. We're going to release you. On your feet, soldier. I'm with the Disfavored. No sooner do you untie him than he grabs your wrist hard enough to cut off your circulation. I'll not fall for some unbroken trick. You won't get me to talk with this mockery of a rescue. Callius, Barrack shakes his head. The poor man is mad from imprisonment and torture. I've seen it happen, though never to a good Northman. Well, this guy is a member of the Disfavored, and from what I know of them, they seem to respect strength more than anything else. So, I think we're going to handle this with a bit of tough love. Sorry about that, everyone. I had to cough a little bit. But I will take back my arm and punch his ass. His head snaps back from the blow and he recovers, cradling his jaw. A moment later, he shakes his head and spits out a tooth. No son of stalwart could swing such a haymaker. If you say you're with the Disfavored, then I trust you. Well, that's a novel idea. We got him to trust us by punching him. Interesting indeed. He rubs his wrist and regards you with respect. This fort is still controlled by the Unbroken, and I'm in no shape to fight my way out. I take it there are other soldiers outside these walls. If you open the gate from the inside, letting in reinforcements will give us the opportunity we need. Very well, I will go and open the gate. Try not to get killed. I haven't seen the outside of these stinking walls in longer than I dare imagine, and I wouldn't see this opportunity wasted. Okay, we will open the front gate. And if you're wondering why I didn't take the opportunity to ask him questions, it's quite simple. From Tiberius's point of view, asking questions right then and there would be a colossal waste of time. Our objective is to get the guy out. not play 20 questions with him. Okay. Yeah, our objective is retrieve him from here, not playing 20 questions. And now we're going to open this right here with an attack on this Skyblade, who's sitting right there. It's only one guy, so it won't actually be a threat, but I'm still going to attack right now, and we get the jump on him. Oh, it's 3 of them. So, arcane missile him, and thrust.
On it.
And now, I want to do a slicing attack. God damn you. Now, Mother's Embrace. Water around his head. And Lantry, you can do a quill strike.
Whatever you need.
Eb, what the hell are you doing?
I'll take care of it.
Phantom Bolt. Barrick, no. Focus on the one guy right there. And I almost missed Tiberius being hurt. Potion time. Flurry of blows. Now, Eb, Taratus' call. Slam him into the ground. And now, I will do Light of the Grave. Relay that. Thrust attack. Barrack, just attack. Lantry, quill strike. Eb, you can do an arcane missile. Okay, now the attacks I want to use for Eb are not available. He is doing Restoring Touch on Tiberius. I'm going to have to do a slice.
I'm injured.
Barrack. Striking Iron against him. Now, Eb. Mother's Embrace. Want our friend over here doing a little bit of drowning. The attack we want to use from Lantry is not currently available. Repelling Blast. I think it's time for you to not be on your feet. If at all possible. And by not be on your feet, I of course mean die. Well, we're doing much better. There's one guy over here. Let's let Tiberius top up his health bar. I think before we open that gate, I'm going to use the opportunity to kill him. Taratus' call. Striking Iron. Quill Strike. And Flurry of Blows.
This is useless.
Now Tiberius, Thrust. greater renewal.
On it.
Make their weapons better.
This weapon is useless.
Water around the head, I think. Slice attack.
Will do.
You ready?
Little of this also. Lantry, heal the Fate Binder.
As you command.
Cleave. Striking Iron. Titan's Touch on Tiberius. And Grave Strike.
This is useless. Should try something else.
God, Tiberius is getting down there in health. You need a potion. Flurry of Blows. Quill Strike. Eric can continue just attacking. And Eb, I want you to hit him with a Phantom Bolt.
Pay attention, kids. You might learn something.
Tyrannosaurus Call.
This is useless. I should try something
Now,
else.
I think. Tiberius is not doing so hot. Lantry healing, please.
Fatefinder! Blink twice if you're still alive.
Well, Tiberius has just gone down for the second time. Arcane Missile his ass. Lantry, do a Quill Flurry. Barrack. I think some Striking Iron is in order.
This weapon is like nipples on men. Useless.
Oh, Eb, you are so awesome. This weapon is like nipples on men.
Hey, nobody saw that, right?
Did she actually miss with her lightning attack? I think so. Well, that's one adversary out of our hair. Grab that.
On it.
And once again, I'm going to save so I don't have to redo the damned thing.
On it.
But we unfortunately don't seem able to sleep in any of these tents. Unfortunate that. But now we can open the gate and let our fellow disfavored allies in. Defeat Agathon and the other Unbroken. How many Unbroken are there actually left, though? I've been pretty thorough in my Wipe Out the Unbroken assignment that we've been going through lately. There's, what, 2 or 3 of them? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 of them up here, and this is the basically main sanctuary slash stronghold, I guess.
Whatever you need.
Give them a hand. That's one of them down. Okay, guys, let's focus on the guys who the other Disfavored are focusing on. Give them a hand with their combat engagements. As opposed to trying to fight whoever, we'll fight the ones who the Disfavored are focusing on. Combine our efforts, basically. Give me some of that, Eb. Arcane missile now. And a thrust attack from Tiberius. Oh wow. Eb, you are so funny. We're getting there. Of course, the fact that this particular fight is going as well as it is, I'm convinced. It's mostly down to the fact that we have help, because, as I said, the last time I attempted to go up against this particular group, we were completely wiped out. Simply by virtue of the fact that there were so many more of them than there are of us.
This is useless. I should try something else.
Someone staunch my bleeding.
Okay. Lantry, I want you to heal Barrack. Tiberius, hit that guy with a flurry of blows. Or hit the only one of them remaining with a flurry of blows. Eb, get him with Mother's Embrace.
I got it.
Hey, nobody saw that, right?
Slice attack, even though I don't need to hit multiple enemies. Barrack, you can just attack. As for Eb, I think an arcane missile is in order here. Light of the Grave will heal them from enemy attacks. We didn't even need it, but that was just me sort of making sure that things would go alright. Now, who do I have to speak with? Osmios and Callias at the prisoner pen. Right now I'm going to save, just in case this results in story things happening and a big major fight or something like that. I don't think it will, since we've secured the area and we're with the Disfavored, but I'd rather be safe than sorry. Callias. Osmios greets the former prisoner with open arms. Graven Ash told us to seek you out. He shows you great favor. Barrack? Callias squints up at your companion. I hardly recognize you under there. I would say you're a sight for sore eyes, but well, you look terrible. Thanks, Callias. Real nice of you there. Glad to see you in one piece, Callias. Obviously, Barrack doesn't mind being told he looks terrible. Better him than me, I guess. The soldier winces as he tries to stand tall. I'm relieved to see my countrymen again, but give me a moment. I'm still weak from my wounds. Ash's protection has kept me alive, but these Unbroken can be relentless when they want something. He looks up. Glad to see you alive, soldier. I don't think I got your name earlier. I'm Tiberius, a fate binder of Tunon. Hail. Hail. A fate binder so far from court. Turns to Osmios with a questioning glance. Never considered myself important enough to have Tunon's attention But I've also been cut off for the last year and change. Seems like the war hasn't improved in my absence. Well, I have questions for you now that everything's cleared up here. And our favor, the disfavor, means he will actually answer things. Apparently. That's really interesting. You have an air of honor about you. If you mean the disfavored well, I'll answer any questions that I can. Well, who are you, soldier? We didn't exactly get much about you except for your name. I'm just a stone shield, but I was bound to Sir Graven Ash's daughter Amelia. His voice falters. It was my pride to fight at her side, and my great shame when Stratius Herodin's forces overpowered and captured our unit. The old regent may be 10 times as stubborn as his people, but he lacks none of their might. Ash's daughter survived the storms, then? I didn't think anything could survive one of Kairos' edicts. The fact that the Unbroken still exists is a miracle in and of itself. Amelia didn't die on the field that day. We were both taken prisoner, but I was moved here and made to suffer. The edict hit shortly after, and I assumed stymied any effort to recover us. Stratus isn't a fool, and he's keeping her alive as a hostage for some future negotiation ploy. By Kairos, this concerns everything my legion fought for. She survived capture, that means there's a chance. I have it from Ash personally that he's felt a connection to his daughter. He frowns. In fact, it's grown stronger for some reason. You have your orders, Fatebinder. The general demands that we take Sentinel's stand, cover Amelia, and put an end to these storms at last. How do the Unbroken intend to get inside Sentinel's stand? Did you happen to overhear their plans? I overheard a lot from my pen. Even saw the Unbroken leader Matthias a few weeks past. Matthias had the others convinced that some old stalwart relic would help resist Kairos' storms. He planned on using it to let the Unbroken pass the wind wall and enter Sentinel's stand. He frowns. Artifacts are a strange business. The Unbroken dedicated enough resources to the task of finding one that I would take it to heart. Tell me about artifacts. This isn't exactly my primary area of expertise. Artifacts are items of great power. It could be anything: a cloak pin, a pair of shoes, a fancy comb. Many of them resemble ordinary objects you might carry or wear, but they can do remarkable things. Part of how the regents maintained their dynasty was by way of inheritance. This is coming from Lantry, by the way. Houses Stratus, Sender, and Aspison, amassed over the centuries a small trove of relics and guarded them fiercely down the generations. There's the magical sword, the Dauntless. Whoever the lead regent was always wore a fancy helmet, and one of them owned an ever-burning lamp, among other things. Now, lots of those artifacts are scattered, but I'm certain that before the war, every thief in the bastard city had some private fantasy about a heist on Sentinel Keep stand. I've heard tell of artifacts that could open doors, melt flesh, or set whole camps ablaze with nothing more than a simple gesture. It's not beyond reason that an artifact could shield someone from the worst of these storms. Well, if you'll just tell me where Matthias sent his forces, then I will be on my way. Dispatched a large number of soldiers to Rust Canyons. He wouldn't have depleted Duskwatch of its defenders unless he believed in what he was doing. That's the best news I've had in some time. There are plenty of Disfavored operating in the area around Rust Canyons. It's only a matter of time before they overwhelm our enemies. He nods to you. Report to Graven Ash in Ironhearth and tell him of the situation. He'll need to know what is happening here. Both sides make for Sentinel stand, but one of our commanders is in the area already. He can hold the line while you speak with Ash. Okay. It's time to report back to Graven Ash and let him know about the situation we are in right now. I'm sure he'll be more than happy to be made aware that we know where his daughter is now. Ash is certainly going to be happy to hear that. So, it's time for us to be on the way.
On it.
It's time for us to head back to Iron Hearth and meet up with Ash. There we go. Iron Hearth will take a little over a day and a half. Well, a little under a day and a half, rather, to reach it. "10 in the morning. Nice time to arrive. Because I won't have to feel like we're waking Ash up in the middle of the damn night to give him this news, since we're arriving in the early to mid-morning. He's probably already up and about, and has been for a while now. Okay, we're here, and that was quite the lengthy loading screen. I'm probably going to end up editing that and other long-ass loading screens out. Akalos. That's not who we're after. Who is it over here? 'Cause I'm not actually sure where Graven Ash hangs out. Oh no, yeah, we found something, but I'm not going to touch it because this is in the Disfavored's military outpost, and we don't want to be stealing from the Disfavored. I mean, the game might not class it as stealing, but it's sitting in their territory. So as far as I'm concerned, taking that without consent, which I have no way of knowing if we have, would be stealing. But now it is time for us to report back into Graven Ash and give him the somewhat good news. I say somewhat because we haven't rescued his daughter yet, but we know where she's at. Fatebinder, you return. Through his congenial smile, you just barely detect that Ash is wincing. Is there something amiss, Archon? Nothing I can't handle. The war takes a toll on everyone it touches, but in my case, the price can be heavier than most. He rises to full height and dismisses your concerns with an authoritative shrug of his shoulders. But never mind that. You didn't come to hear about an old man's aching joints. We have a realm to subjugate, and people to break under the Disfavored banner. What is it you require? I'm here to update you about the mission you sent me on. My search for Amelia now takes me to the Rust Canyons. I'm pleased to hear of your progress. Rust Canyon was once a verdant pass for travelers, and one of many choke points on the way to Sentinel's stand. Now it's merely a garbage heap infested by rebellion. The Unbroken, I'm told, are seeking artifacts to attempt to bypass the storm. That does make sense. No means to kill Stratus Heraldin from outside of Sentinel's stand. The only chance of breaching the wind wall would be through an artifact's power. The trouble is, the number of artifacts scattered about the realm is anyone's guess, and I couldn't tell you which of them could get the job done. If these rebels are committed to the task, then it's possible they know something more. I believe it was the custom of each of the regions to travel with some artifact in their possession. With all but one of their polluted bloodline killed during the conquest, the Unbroken are likely seeking a corpse among thousands. A fool's errand, but not an ignoble one. Ah, so it is possible. Then I'm afraid our mission just got a little more complicated, because we can't simply ignore that. And I'm told the Unbroken's leader is a man by the name of Matthias. You wouldn't happen to know who this is and be able to tell me anything about him, would you? Matthias? I've not come across his name, but yours is the most recent intelligence we've dredged from the region, though I can well believe that it's true. Whatever he calls himself, this upstart should be killed to set an example for his would-be army. You come across him, and expect his head to topple from his shoulders in good order. That is indeed what I plan to do, if he's fomenting insurrection around here. But now, let's get to the news I'm actually here to deliver. I've confirmed that Amelia's unit was taken by Stratus Heraldin's troops. Damn that corrupt inbred head of a regent. If its death were not required to end the Edict of Storms, I would take pleasure in breaking him on the rack myself. I was devastated when Amelia's cohort vanished. A father's dread is not so different from a general's, and in my case, I am twice cursed to suffer the pain of her absence. I still feel her presence. It's grown stronger even, so I know that she lives, but I fear for her safety all the same. And Rust Canyon has now been unlocked. I received word that my Disfavored have cleared a path to Rust Canyons, and that should prevent any rebels from entering or leaving the area. You should make contact with Theodore, the lieutenant in charge of the attack. He will guide you from there. Farewell, then. We have a mission to get on with. That which remains. And we have to travel to Rust Canyons and meet someone in the area. Huh. Now we'll see if there's a tent or the like nearby, where Tiberius can rest. Because we need to heal up his couple of wounds before we move on to this mission, I think. Not going to happen, apparently. Appears that it's not going to be a thing. So we'll just move on to the Rust Canyons, I guess. Game's being a little weird at the moment, doesn't want to let me use the shortcut keys, though it usually fixes itself with a restart, and I'm going to be ending fairly soon. So we'll just make our way to the Rust Canyons. Winding dust-filled canyons, filled with a bunch of corpses from Kairos' magical storms. Sounds like a lovely place, and we'll be there in 10 hours. The middle of the bloody night, too. Isn't this wonderful? We get to visit a mass grave site. Just what I always wanted to do.
Kairos' storm ripped all life to shreds, leaving behind only armor and weapons. It is chilling to see these metal remains with my own eyes.
Yes, chilling really is the best description of this. Wedged into these rocks are the iron trappings of soldiers killed by Kairos' edict. Magical winds sheared away all flesh, leaving behind only rusty armor and weaponry. Oh wow. It really is chilling to look at this. Man. Resolute blade. An unbroken soldier struggles to rise to his feet. One arrow lodged in his shoulder, the other in his thigh. He attempts to stand, but his muscles are too weak for the task. We will simply watch. We have no reason to show any caring for these particular insurgents who threaten Kairos' peace. Soldier lacks the strength, but none of the conviction as he fights to move in spite of his wounds. Powerless to scramble away as a disfavored officer approaches from the west. A disfavored soldier calmly approaches from the west. He regards the vulnerable southerner with a curled lip and a disapproving shake of his head. Weak and broken, prisoners make for poor sport. Your escape was spirited, but damned foolish. He raises his sword and points it at the unbroken man's heart, poised to let it plunge and impale him to the filth-strewn ground. Well, to be perfectly honest, Tiberius has no reason to actually stop him. As much as we're starting to see, he is kind of seeing the impact of how the Overlord's choices, the choices made in the name of the Overlord, are to have a negative repercussions. Was struggling to find my words there for a second. Have negative repercussions on the average people because of our conversations with Ebb. Our average rebel that we're coming across in this kind of situation, Tiberius doesn't have a lot of sympathy for them because he, despite all of that, he still believes that the Overlord's rule of the known world is the best thing for everyone in the long term. Despite how unsettled we are at the way some of the average citizens can be harmed by it. We will just observe, though. And we have gained fear with Ebb. So I can understand that. Ebb was just a member of... Ebb was a member of a very similar group, the Vendrian's Guard, so she's kind of afraid that we might do the same thing to her, so we're just going to have to find time eventually to speak to Ebb and assure her that that's not the case and explain our reasoning. It won't solve everything, but we should at least be able to find some decent middle ground with that. I think. In one swift motion, back to the disfavored officer, in one swift motion, he plunges his sword into the man's heart, pinning the fallen soldier to the rusted earth. The disfavored soldier turns to the Unbroken camp, frustration evident in his tone, and his gaze shifts over to you and back to the walls. I have reinforcements now, Elia. If you open the gates, I can still make this easy on you. He passes you a knowing glance that suggests he's lying and proud of it. You see a woman stride purposefully into view atop a platform along the wall's edge. She lifts a spear and hurls it at Theodore, cursing under her breath when it breaks against the rocks. I am so fucking tired of listening to you. Go shriek at someone else's fortress for a change, and stop trying to impress me by hunting down unarmed prisoners. Maybe the ladies of the north get shivery over your bravado, but all it tells me is that your codpiece is emptier than your skull. She takes note of you with a raised brow. And we will say nothing. Make no mistake, Elia. It would be better served as my camp slave than as my enemy, to waste a good potential. He tips his head to the west. Fatebinder, let's consult when you have a moment. Wow, I have to admit, as much as we were more inclined to not get involved, that guy's kind of a dick, and I am not fond of the kind of bullshit he seems to be into doing lately. Maybe this is just his usual behavior. I really don't know, but I'm not fond of it. In fact, his future behavior will determine how badly I hurt him in future. But Theodore, we need to consult with him. The lieutenant holds up his sword and squints through the obscurity of the high winds. Who goes there? Oh, it's you, Fatebinder. I wish you didn't have to witness that crude exchange. Elia and her lot have caused me no lack of trouble. His manner softened. You are most welcome here. Even if your loyalties fall with the court more than the Legion, we need all the help we can get. Ash sent word to expect you. If we dispatch an outsider to help us in the field, that says something about his urgency to see these Unbroken conquered for good. I think we can both appreciate that his interest in seeing this matter resolved is of a personal nature. He catches himself. I apologize for that outsider remark. Some of us aren't accustomed to working with anyone but the Legion proper. That's perfectly alright, but if it's all the same, in Theodore, I'd rather we just focus on the task at hand. Because that is far more important than any small talk, I would say. And we've gained loyalty with Beric and favor with the Disfavored. And I've unlocked the charismatic achievement, whatever that actually does. He nods. I'll be happy to leave this place in my tracks. Something about the wind seems to carry all the worst stink and refuse to this corner of Stalwart. Ash says the Unbroken are scavenging the Blade Grave for an old Stalwart heirloom. I can think of nothing else that would help us reach Sentinel's stand, short of the Regent's timely death. They're not making this easy by holding themselves behind walls. If the conquest is any evidence, Stalwart folk are less inclined toward facing their enemies in open battle. The Tearsmen are like rats, squeezing themselves behind the narrowest walls to avoid the inevitable. Then I have known some crafty vermin in my day, and what does that make you, my ironclad friend? Behind the obscurity of his helm, you can hear Beric grinding his teeth. Careful, Beric, you don't want to piss off Ebb. She might decide to enclose your head in a ball of water. And then that water would be inside your suit forever. You definitely don't want that. No matter what they find here, the Unbroken are trapped. North of camp, we have soldiers led by my subordinate, Jacquemus. The south reinforcements march as we speak. He taps his chin in thought. Still, I would appreciate any help you can offer. The sooner we claim that Unbroken artifact, the sooner we reach Sentinel's stand. Okay, but to be honest, Theodore, I have to say, this territory hardly looks as if it's worth taking, or even defending for that matter. What's actually important about this area? Well, the search for artifacts certainly changed how we view this garbage pit. In truth, Rust Canyons presents us with some strategic advantages. Our location brushes shoulders with Iron Hearth and Duskwatch Fort. If we could claim this spot for the Disfavored, that would be as good as controlling the whole region. Kind of. Sentinel's stand is the real prize of the Blade Grave. Any word from Sentinel's stand? There seems to be more of a scout presence outside the wind wall. Unbroken, Disfavored, everyone is on edge, waiting for something to happen. We'll have to hold our breath a little longer before we can uncork the old keep. Once we track down the stalwart artifact, it'll be a mad scramble as everyone races to claim Sentinel's stand first. But any new information? Not as such. We have every reason to assume that Stratus Harridan hasn't committed suicide yet, and we're hopeful that Ash's daughter is in fair condition. I only hope that her father's protection is keeping her spirits high. Okay, that's all I wanted to know. Now, I'm ready to hear how I can help contribute to your operations here. My men are eager for battle, and we wouldn't mind taking the Unbroken camp in advance of our reinforcements. And glances to his countrymen with a smile. That'll show the old 15th cohort, eh, boys? You may want to clear out a group of Unbroken by the bridge to the southeast. They guard another entrance into the camp. Some of our men are being held captive there too, and we need the extra numbers on our side to hold these canyons. Now, strictly speaking, my orders are to wait for reinforcements, so I can't directly assist you. But once we secure the camp, you'll get first pick of the spoils, and a chance to interrogate their leader, Elia. Deal? Very well, I'll give you a hand. Glad to hear it. I would go after the Unbroken stationed at the eastern bridge first. Okay.
See that pen over there? The prisoners within are dressed in Unbroken colors.
Okay, so we have a mission to help them take out this camp in advance of the arrival of their reinforcements, and Tiberius's reason for doing so. At the moment, is basically to prevent the Disfavored from suffering too many casualties, because if the enemy proves stronger than we expected, we don't want them to have to lose too many because of casualties suffered taking this after their reinforcements arrive. And so we are going to try and prevent that by taking the camp early. That, and we kind of want to speed things along because the whole situation with Ash's daughter means that we are kind of, at least in Tiberius' mind, on a little unofficial timer because of the fact that we don't know how long the Unbroken will decide that it's in their benefit to keep Ash's daughter alive. So we're going to try and speed through this as much as possible so that they don't get the chance to decide they want to kill her. But in any case, this is going to be where I call a close to this particular recording session. So, you've been watching my Let's Play of Tyranny. Thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed this, then please comment on my video, share it to anyone you think might enjoy it, or subscribe if you want to see more like this, because I really do appreciate it. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. See you then, folks. See you then.